Hey, here we are again, ringside right now. I'm with the crew as always, Clint, Curtis. We're here to give our opinions about what we think is going on with wrestling. And before we get started, be sure you like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below and hit that notification bell whenever new videos come out. You'll be the first to know. So, fellas, we already had a couple of things take place as far as Saturday night's main event, then Raw, and right now as we're filming, SmackDown's going on. So, I'll throw it to you guys. Where you want to start at first?
I would say let's acknowledge Fatal Influence, who may have secretly watched us because not only did they win the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships, but they won with a handful of tights.
Speaking of a handful of tights, you can always get good merch like this shirt right here, FTKO and other great merchandise at a handful of tights. They have great merch because, Clint, you know a little bit more about handful of tights, don't you?
Yeah, I know the guy who helps with the designs there. They have new designs coming out every week. They got some they're working on now. Um, Funny thing is, AEW recently sent them a complaint, so some of their AEW shirts did get removed, but there's one that got missed. So go check that out, and there'll be more down the line. They'll find some way to work around it. But just Google handful of tights and just take a look, see what they got.
But again, shout out to Fatal Influence because why, Curtis?
Because the best way to win is with a handful of tights.
You know it. So besides those ladies winning the women's tag, which and earlier tonight we saw Nikki come back. So now it looks like we got a 6-woman tag at SummerSlam, the Bellas and Paige versus Fatal Influence. So, you know,
Which is the perfect opportunity when they lose that match to turn on Paige.
I think we've
So
kind of
that
been thumping the bushes about that one.
yeah. So before we even go into predictions, I'm telling you now that's what's going down.
Yeah.
That's the best place to do it, unless they just want to keep them around as a 6-man tag for a while, 6-woman tag for a while. But I don't see it.
I like Paige, but the sooner they pack the Bellas, they pack the Bellas up, the better.
Yeah, give them, a heel run. They can feud with Paige and maybe someone else, and then let Paige do what she's going to do. If she's back and she's going to be, full time on the roster, which it looks like she is, you know, I wouldn't be mad at another world title run.
I actually think they need to put her on Raw because I think the women's SmackDown roster is kind of loaded and stacked right now, and the women and Monday night is a little lacking right now. So I think Paige going back to Raw would be cool once this turn takes place.
Exactly. And where's Becky? Well, I mean, do
I
they not
think
have?
Becky's just been chilling. She's on outs, and then you hearing rumors about Bailey possibly being done with WWE. So I mean, that's why I say Raw is kind of lacking right now. I mean, of course there are rumors. There's nothing
Yeah,
substantiated. Yet.
yeah, but it is interesting. She's been gone for a while. Maybe they just don't have anything for her, or maybe she hasn't announced her 9-month vacation yet.
I don't think she. I mean,
Well,
Seth, come on, man, come on now.
I wouldn't go that. I
Look, we,
mean,
we don't know what precautions they take or how Seth's pullout game is. So, I don't leave anything a chance.
Or
she
maybe
might.
it's just the fact that they've been traveling with the baby for so long now that maybe it's time to get some settled time as far as mommy
Yeah,
and daughter time, things like that. So maybe like you said, it's just a vacation.
yeah. I
Right.
mean, do what you gotta do. Family first.
And I guess we might as well go ahead and get the elephant in the room, so to speak, with Danhausen. I mean, Saturday night was perfect for what he did for what that match was. I just thought it was overkill on Raw. That man was in 4 segments on Raw. Granted, I know he's Detroit, but Detroit kid, he loves Detroit and they were in Detroit, but still, he pretty much dominated the whole show. And I didn't think it
Well,
was necessary.
look, was it entertaining? That's all that matters. He's, I'm sure he's selling, some of the most shirts, if not the most shirts right now with WWE. I think Oba and Roman are doing pretty well. He is by far the most popular character WWE has right now as far as mainstream popularity. So maybe they feel like, hey, let's give the world some more Danhausen, kind of get him out there a little more. Yeah, you don't want to do it too much, but I didn't feel it was overkill. I felt it was, okay, he's getting a little more exposure. I didn't see it as overkill, but again, that's your top character. You just had the New York show, the MSG show. He's doing ESPN and all this. People outside of WWE know Danhausen.
I didn't think it was overkill either. I mean, technically he's kind of involved with the whole Judgment Day thing, cursing that Liv Morgan. I think JD McDonough's been cursed twice now, and of course there's Dirty Dom.
And it's also hilarious that for a while they had no real male rivals. There were no male baby faces that were coming after Judgment Day. Their women have good storylines going on, but they don't have any major feuds going on with the men. And now their major feuds with Danhausen of all people. But he's making it work.
Yeah, but at some point, and I know WWE has a way of putting stuff out there too much. After a while, you get bored with it. I mean, okay, look for example, the not 24/7 championship, but the hardcore championship. Like
Yeah.
it was cool, and then all of a sudden it was like, why are you constantly putting this out there? We're tired of it, and I don't want Danhausen to be in that place of he's so
Well,
gimmicky that you get tired of it.
let me compare Danhausen to the hardcore title. The hardcore title was a cool concept, but after a while, it was just strictly garbage matches. Like, with the hardcore title, you had Mick Foley, who would use weapons, but he would actually still wrestle. Steve Blackman didn't use a lot of weapons at all. I think he was still out there
That
kicking
kendo
people's
stick
head.
and that garbage can
Yeah,
he was definitely
but
using
he was
that.
still kicking folks' head off. But after a while, it was just nothing. I mean, not a punch, not any wrestling at all. Just trash can, kendo stick, trash can, shopping cart, stop sign. It became repetitive and just BS, and that's why people got tired of it. As long as Danhausen doesn't get repetitive like that, I don't think people will get tired of it, as long as it's interesting. People don't get tired of things that are interesting. No one got tired of Breaking Bad halfway through the series or Game of Thrones halfway through the series.
Because they were
As
good
long
shows.
Yeah, and they kept being interesting. Now, once Game of Thrones started to kind of have a downfall in the quality, then yeah, people did stop. And same with Walking Dead, same with any show. You have to keep it entertaining. And he's doing a good job of it so far. So as long as he keeps it entertaining, I don't think people get tired of him. When it gets to the point where he's doing the same thing over and over, the same shit, then yeah. So
He's
that's
kind of
on him.
starting to do that now with the curse
But
thing,
see,
and now he's
okay, but
added
see,
the Danhausen death drop, which is kind of his. I mean, I know it's a
yeah.
finisher, which is okay, cool, but we know where that move is from.
I mean,
I don't think he really needs a picture, but I
not that
mean,
there's a problem with triple D's, but anyways,
never a problem with Triple D.
but a fun
Nah, I
fact,
mean, never that,
but
never that.
yeah, but a fun fact. I mean, there was a time where the Hardcore Championship nearly put out the power of WrestleMania. It was WrestleMania 18, I believe.
But yeah, with the golf cart.
Oh yeah, yeah. Little fun,
And no one remembers that match.
yeah, little fun factoid
Well,
there. But
I think that one was kind of entertaining, but I think that was like the last one. I don't think anyone remembers any hardcore title match after that.
well, not, well, you had the Raven and the Big Show, so there's also that. But anyways, moving on.
Yeah, and of course, you had the big tag of Cody and Punk versus Gunther and Sammy, and for the most part, it went the way we all kind of expected. Outside of except for
Outside.
Nick Aldis, yeah, that kind of
Yeah.
was the caveat to it.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting it, but when it happened, I wasn't really surprised. But for the most part, it was a really good match.
Yeah, it
It was,
was. It wasn't more of a shock. It was more like, oh, he finally did it. He finally shut this guy up. Because
Yeah,
you're
I
kind of
mean the tease was there the whole time, but now
yeah.
they actually pulled the trigger on it.
Yeah, so that was cool. But as far as Saturday's main event, the match of the night to me, and I don't know if you guys agree, maybe you will, was Bailey and Lyra.
Oh
They went
yeah,
out.
that was
I
an
mean,
incredible match.
and shout out to Lyra still finishing the match with a broke nose.
Man,
Mm.
whew. You
Hey,
know,
these
whenever I
women are
feel
tough
like,
now. I
hey,
mean, don't
yeah,
play with them.
well,
Don't play
you know
with
what?
it.
I'm gonna have to take my words back about Lyra because I was into them. Like, okay, Lyra, all right, go
Like,
ahead, go ahead.
Like,
and I could go ahead, Curtis.
yeah, Lyra's problem was never wrestling. It's just her
Nah,
promos. But it's just her promos, but she'll get better with time. But that was just an incredible match.
But now that she has a new character, I think the promos are going to get better because she's coming at it from a different angle. Now,
yeah,
for a lot of people, or for some people, being a heel is easier because trying to be the kind of person people want you to be, trying to be a people pleaser is a lot harder than just saying, you know what, screw, I'm going to be an asshole. Being an asshole is a lot easier.
that's
And
true.
that's when guys turn heel, it seems like they get better. Roman, people were waiting for Cena to turn heel because it seems like things, you're going to get Dom. Tell me Dom didn't improve by leaps and bounds when he turned heel.
Yeah,
And
I mean, he definitely did.
and of course, some people have proven that they're better, much better heels than faces. I
Well,
mean,
I think with a heel, you kind of you tap more into yourself,
yeah, and
and
for
when you
some,
tap more into yourself, you kind of can grow your character a little bit more. And plus, it's more fun to be an asshole.
Yeah.
and for some people, it's their authentic personality times 1,000. Hey
Yeah.
Miz,
Right.
hey Miz, hey Randy Orton, but yeah, as examples, but you kind of get the idea.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But I will say this with Lyra, if as long as she keeps being aggressive like this is what we need to see going forward. Because now we can see her being a viable threat to say when EO wins the title, or possibly Sol Ruka if Sol Ruka retains, versus Raquel, or possibly Roxy, whichever one she ends up taking on. So that's what I'm saying. Like that
Yeah,
type of aggression is what you needed.
something else also for later down the line. As a heel, she's going to kind of have that extra edge that she didn't have before. Well, if they decide down the line, she's a little more popular. Hey, let's turn her face again. She can be a face with that same edge.
I kind of hate to say it, but it'd be similar like what they did with Rhea.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
With Rhea, with Becky, I mean, it works.
Some
Yeah,
people
I
can
mean,
just play both sides of
Roman,
the. Some people just play good at playing both sides of the coin overall.
that's very true. That's very true. But, I mean, granted, it takes something special to get over with fans as a face and still be able to go back into the heel persona and people still love you or hate you with just as much as they liked you, when you were a face. So it takes something special to do it, and it's not just like a pants, passing fancy type of, oh, I hate him now, blah, blah, blah. It's like real deal, I hate you type deal.
yeah.
But now back to a couple of things that I didn't like as far as Raw. Um, I understand you wanted to get Oba on the show because Oba is Oba. I don't know how I feel about the whole throwing them into the whole comic thing with JD being cursed, but I guess it fits. I I just wasn't a fan of it.
Um, I'm fine with it as long as they're not doing it every week. If they're doing it every week, then it kind of becomes a Teddy Long Undertaker thing. In this instance, Oba was pissed, and he was no, he Pierce didn't want to deal with that. So let's get in the ring. He had a legit reason for having him in the match, not just you know,
Not just
let's just throw
throwing
you in
them
the
for
match.
the
Okay,
sake of putting
just
them in a
because.
match.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So as long as they're not doing it every week.
I'm sitting there thinking that okay, you got him in this ultra serious match where he cut this ultra serious promo last week, and now you throw him into a comedy bit. That's the part I'm not.
Well, it's comedy on Judgment Days, and it wasn't comedy for Oba. Because yeah, you're throwing them in this kind of sitcom situation, both at the same time. It's Oba's like, I'm not here for games. I'm pissed off right now. getting ready for this match with Brock. I'm not from the game, so I'm going to just kick your ass. And
I
all the
just
little ha ha, that was all from the Judgment Day. Oba was about kick ass.
I just think if you did in the back, like kept it backstage instead of putting it in the match, like doing something destructive with JD. Well, we know how tough JD is. We've seen evidence there, but like do something where you're like destroying him in the back, him and Dom, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like throwing him through catering tables or throwing them over the sound boxes and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but
I think that would have kind of, to me, okay, you're keeping him ultra aggressive because he's ultra on edge, ready for this Hell of a Cell match with Brock.
But I think he did accomplish that because I mean, we gotta give. I mean, we've been giving JD McDonald his flowers. I mean, yes, he's tough. He's talented, and the guy can sell like death.
yeah. But to go back to Pierre's point, that makes more sense when you think about it logically. But if they're backstage doing all this, then that takes away the fans' opportunity to do this.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, granted, yeah,
that's what the fans in
he doesn't
attendance
need
came
another
to do.
promo thing right now. So
Yeah, exactly. You're going to do that just for it's promo after promo. We need to see some action. So instead of we got to have them because the fans want to see them. The paying crowd wants to see them, and the people at home want to see them. But you don't want to have another promo, so just put them in a match. And that was the simplest way to do it without making him look too stupid, because he didn't, and making Judgment Day comedic.
but Raw was still very promo centric.
It was, but we didn't need another promo from Oba
Well,
because
not I mean, not saying we
Oba
needed
didn't give
Oba
us
to
nothing
cut a
but
promo,
promos.
but
And
that's
so,
why I really
so
didn't like
yeah.
Raw though. It was just too much of
But they broke
promo.
up the monotony as far as Oba goes. So next week when he
Yeah,
does cut a promo, you're not going, oh, another promo because you wrestled last week. But he's going to cut another promo,
I
and you're
think
going
you
to get
just
a lot
have
more.
Brock on next week, and you save Oba for the going home show.
Makes sense.
Well,
I
actually, I
mean,
take that back. Next week is the going home show, so never mind. I just thought about it. SummerSlam is next weekend.
That's right. So yeah, you can have a promo there, a face off, a brawl, something.
Yeah.
and speaking of
Yeah.
SummerSlam, with something else that occurred, and this actually stems from Saturday Night's main event. We had another commercial with wide receiver from the Minnesota Vikings, Justin Jefferson, throwing out his promo code for, as far as I know, day one of SummerSlam. And as of this recording, it's actually pushed some tickets. It's not like boom of a whole lot of tens and of thousands of tickets. I mean, it's like they did manage to put up like just over 5,000 tickets. Now that's not exactly it's going to set the world on fire, but now if this was something that had been done earlier, then that might be something.
But how many fans can the stadium hold?
That's
Because I
about
think
a
last I checked, it was like what there was like not even 30,000 tickets sold for night one yet.
They've actually pushed the setup for them just now, just over 30,000.
Okay, so but I'm just saying, like, does that field hold more than 30
Yeah,
for a wrestling setup? I'm thinking it does.
I have to check. I think
well, that stadium's
Russell,
it's probably double that. That's at least like a 70,000 I, I I'm gonna have to
So
look into that.
if it's 70 without wrestling, you can add about another 5 to 10 on the floor. So now you're talking. Let's just say 75 to be safe. And if last we checked, they just now pushing over 30 with a week to go. That's not good because those ticket prices were ridiculous. I mean, you've had AJ Styles call them out on lowering tickets, and that was recently. That was like what, a couple of days ago that he had I read it somewhere that he was pushing for TKO to lower the prices. So again, FTK.
now per WrestleTix, shout out to WrestleTix, as of July 21st when they posted this, SummerSlam Saturday had 1,853 available tickets and
Okay,
680
so that's better.
the current setup is just over 31,000, and they've sold just over 29,000.
Okay, so it's small. They're keeping it small then, basically.
Yeah, they're much closer to 32,000 than they are to, the 29. But yeah, that's just 3,000 tickets.
So, but some
Those are
tells me
probably
that stadium holds more than 30,000. I
well, it
believe that
says
stadium can hold like at least 60.
well, the total. Okay, so it's also saying total number of seats on the map is 72,000.
So
So they're tarping off a lot. Well, you have to for the stage.
yeah,
You
but
have the
that's
stage
still.
set.
But you're talking about you're on the field. On top of that, so that means you
Yeah.
only have about maybe 25,000 in the actual stands, with another 5 to 6 on the floor. So, and that means you talked off literally half of the stadium.
Now it says the cheapest ticket, standard admission, is $76.10. Now, if that's $76.10, including all the Ticketmaster fees and
Probably
sales
not.
taxes, blah blah blah.
That was more
Yeah, I
than.
mean, if it wasn't, I would say that's not too bad. But that on top, you're looking at closer to $100 pretty much per ticket.
Which, if they had, promoted these tickets to be about that much or a little bit less beforehand, maybe they wouldn't have to tarp off half of the stadium.
Exactly. And I'm only seeing, okay, there's Sunday. The last update for SummerSlam Sunday was on the 20th, where they had 3,800 available tickets.
So they're 2,000 less on even Sunday night.
Which you would think that would be the other way around.
Exactly.
That's odd. I mean, I don't imagine there's a difference. There's that much of a difference in price between night one and night two. I thought they were the same price.
And
And
this is going to lead to one or two things. Either they're going to try to stop this 2-night experiment with SummerSlam, or they are going to be committed to do these PLEs overseas where they know they're going to get a full house every time.
Yeah, but eventually someone's going to say, okay, that we like watching the international shows because of the crowds, and that's great and all. But you go 2, 3, 4 months with all international shows, somebody's going to say, hey, hold on now, when are you coming back to the United States? When are you coming to my city with a PLE?
Well, they've basically done it, 3 times this year already.
But SummerSlam is in Minneapolis, so they've done it 3 times, but they haven't done it so much to where people are complaining. If SummerSlam were overseas, I think right by now people would say, okay, what the hell's going on? But because it's been 2 or 3 and then back in the States, okay.
I just wonder what people are going to say when
Just
it's
stop being
actually
greedy and lower
overseas.
the price.
But think about next year when Mania is overseas.
And see, and that that's a whole nother story with that, because you're not just affecting. You're basically saying screw you to your American fans, because no one's going to go to
And your
Saudi.
Canadian fans. We love Canada. We love
I mean, it's
Canada.
all over the
Much
world.
respect.
Who's going to go to Saudi? People will come to the U.S. from, the U.K. and Japan and Canada for WrestleMania. And I'm sure if they had WrestleMania in Canada or the UK, there are some people who will be willing to travel to that. No one is going to Saudi.
Yeah, I mean, and without being political, if we still have a quote unquote war going on, people aren't. I mean, Saudi and Iran aren't that far apart. Not necessarily saying that you got to go into one to get to the other one, but they're close enough to where you might feel a little leery flying in that area.
Yeah.
Not to
Plus,
mention, I didn't mean to interrupt, but not to mention you would have to be in that area for at least a week because, again, this is WrestleMania. You're having to do
Yeah, that's true.
interviews, different fan accesses, work, and all kinds of conventions.
and don't they have that WWE something over there in
Like a
Riyadh?
WWE experience, a WWE World or something like that.
So I'm
Yeah,
sure
they do.
they have stuff going on there too. They'll fit all that into it. But on the other hand, also, in addition to what you said, not just is it going to affect the American fans, this is affecting a lot of other promotions as well. Look how many, and for those who've never been to WrestleMania week, there are a ton of other wrestling related events going on. Other promotions are having shows, indie promotions. New Japan may even have an American show during that week. GCW,
And don't forget WrestleCon.
WrestleCon.
There's usually a WrestleCon the same week.
Absolutely.
WrestleCon is going on. Busted Open usually goes over there.
Well, there's no
None of
more
these
busted
things are
open,
going
more or
over there.
less, but
GCW isn't going over there. NWA, all these other promotions, they aren't going over. I highly doubt they're going to go over there. What they may end up doing is doing something in the US. They may all get together and say, hey, let's pick a city here and let's have an event. And they do
I've been
everything
hearing
there.
some some indie places may be going to New York, but I could be wrong on that.
I mean, hey, this
So
could be a modern day super clash type situation. Maybe the Friday night before SmackDown, maybe Friday night before Mania, put on a live show like
that
with the different promotions and things of that nature. Just make it like
that
a
would be
giant
cool
card
to
like
see.
that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's what they're doing. I'm hoping all these organizations are getting together, WrestleCon, GCW, all these guys are getting together and say, hey, let's meet up and decide on a city. And New York is perfect. Okay, so let's talk to all the other vendors, anyone else who's ever participated with WrestleMania, and say, hey, we're having our stuff in New York. So if you still want to have WrestleMania week, meet us in New York.
Yeah,
And
that would work.
here's the thing, you're not necessarily competing with WWE because they don't have anything going on in the States anyway. Number one. Number two, it's not like this is building up to some large event like WrestleMania. It's just a bunch of little small events, but it's something new. It's something different from what WWE is offering, because when WrestleMania is going on, all that stuff stops and they pick it up right after WrestleMania. And then they'll go on usually, till right before Raw that Monday. But they're not competing with WWE events even when they're in the same city, so they're definitely not going to compete with them here.
Yeah, and
I think they should do
fans
that.
will definitely want to see them. And for some indie wrestlers, that's how they're going to get most of their money for the most part.
Exactly. And better yet, I'll do you one better. All these companies get together and they say they're going to go to New York. They have their usual WrestleMania week events, but then they all get together and say, you know what? Let's have a super show and let's put it on pay-per-view. Kind of like All In. It will have that All In vibe where it's, it's just a love story, a love letter to wrestling, pretty much. It's not
The,
like a big show that has to push storylines or anything. It's just an exhibition show that people are going to watch and enjoy.
the one problem with that is if you have too many companies together, they're going to be fighting over pay-per-view rights. And the thing is, who's going to want who will put that on that would give either equal money to, because then at that point now it's like, okay, my guy should get top billing. So now we're going back almost to a territory type situation.
Yeah.
And remember the super
Egos
clash
involved.
situation did not actually turn out well between USWA and WCCW with that super clash, what it was meant to be.
I guess I'm thinking of it more like the Ric Flair's last match show, because Ric Flair's last match was promoted by one group. I think it was actually promoted under Crockett Promotions,
It was.
but you also had other companies sending guys in, because
But what was
Jacob
the
Fox.
sentiment? What was the sentiment? It was about Flair's send off.
Well,
So that's a little different. Now you don't
the
have
sentiment
that type
here,
of sentiment.
is you're celebrating wrestling, and you're saying, hey, no matter what a certain big company is going to do, for the oil barons, we're always going to be here for you. Don't forget independent. Don't forget where the WWE guys come from. And if they get the fan support behind it that All In did, then it's going to sell. You just got to get past the egos. But it's,
That's always the
one
hard part,
company.
though. That's always the hard
Yeah.
part.
I don't know. In a perfect world, that would work out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well,
But go ahead.
yeah, or one thing you probably could do, and maybe whoever's going to be doing that kind of thing, maybe they'll probably hosting a bunch of watch parties for WrestleMania for that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or better yet, you put on a show earlier in the day or whatever time and have like a watch party. Like, okay, since it's gonna be in Saudi, that means WrestleMania should be early, right?
Yeah.
Likely
So why not have the
Like
wrestling
like
show after?
after WrestleMania.
after
That's perfect. That's
that
perfect.
would work.
You know what? So we were talking about who gets pay-per-view rights and all that. What if WrestleCon promotes the show? I mean, I
No, I'm
don't
talking
know
about
if
on
they're
pay per
one.
view. On pay per view, you know how that goes. It typically like who gets the cut of the gate and stuff. Not just the gate, but people pay per view shares and stuff like that.
Okay, so Ric Flair's last match, was that on pay-per-view?
I don't think it was. Was it? I don't know. I can't remember.
You know what? I don't even remember. We were there,
I
so
know we saw cameras, but I don't know if that was
yeah, I
like
don't
kind
know
of
if it was
a
like a
we're
YouTube or
selling the
what.
tapes or we're putting this on live type deal.
You know, I'll check into that because I think, you know, with the right people, the idea could work,
May have
but
been
I'm not a
like
wrestler,
may have
so you know
been
what?
with like different pay-per-view vendors like the Zone or something like that. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like and bring out a big name who is not under a legend contract of the WWE. Like bring out a Flair, bring out a Foley, bring out some other folks to kind of be like the
Or
like
do
this is their card that they would put together if they could. Their dream booking, even though it's not them. If you put the name out there, people will come if it's based on the name. Like if this is Ric Flair's, Ric Flair's dream card, more or less.
yeah.
I think if you put
Oh,
his attached his name to it, people will come out for that just because it's Ric Flair.
yeah. I think in a perfect world they could do something similar to that because that show had a lot of big. It was just a lot of companies sending their biggest names over.
Well, and granted, most of them was in the battle royal, but you did have some cool
Sure.
matches though along the way.
Well, those matches were incredible.
Except for one, and we're not going to talk about that match. That was
No.
Yeah, but the rest of the card was fine.
yeah.
Yep.
The rest was great. It was worth the trip. Now that last
I
match
mean,
was not.
just look at the match. They had the Briscoes and Devon Eriks, you know, the tag match.
Yep.
Who did Jacob Fatu wrestle?
Josh Alexander.
Josh Alexander,
Yep.
yeah.
Because
So those kind of dream matches you can't get anywhere else.
And then the battle royal where you had Bully Ray and you had the guys from GCW come in to
Oh
raid.
yeah, that was
cool.
I think that was the most fun match of the
that
night
was
when the
all
whole
over the place,
GCW
but a
came
great
out.
night.
It
Yeah.
was. We had fun that night.
Yeah, that was fun. I hope they can do something like that because that would be great. Even though I probably wouldn't go because, you know, I'm not going to travel to New York, you know, with, you know, in this recession, but it's just the thought of there's a show out there and that other people are getting to enjoy wrestling despite WrestleMania being out of the country. And then if there's a pay-per-view, I'll order it.
I say put it back in Nashville.
And the whole thing had an old school feel. It kind of brought you back to a simpler time.
It
Yeah.
made you feel like you was in the territory days, literally.
It did. It was like territory dream matches, you know. What if, you know, Dusty could wrestle, you know,
Stone
we'll
Cold or
say
something like that,
Stone-
you know.
Well, I was trying to think. I wouldn't even want to say Hogan Savage, you know, Dusty and Savage.
Well, oh yeah.
Yeah, it would have been Flair and Hogan, which, you know, we should have gotten anyway.
It's a shame that it hasn't been done. I mean, WWE could have easily printed
Well, that was Hogan's fault. That's a whole nother discussion. That was Hogan's fault
steroid trial.
because if Hogan was willing to stick around and do, you know, another title run, we would have got that match.
That was mostly steroid trial, but I see where you go.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forget. But man, I was, you know, and I was never even a Hulk Hogan fan, but I was so hyped for that match. And I knew Hogan
were.
I mean,
especially not knowing how companies work then like we do now.
Yeah, just the fact that Hogan and Flair are going to main event WrestleMania. Man. And if there's any place that match is going to happen, it has to be at WrestleMania.
That's why I'm not buying the thing they said that they tried it at house shows and it flopped at the house shows. I'm like, there's no way that flopped at the house shows.
You can't.
I think Hogan didn't like that. I don't think Hogan liked how Flair was getting
flagged. They announced Hogan as the one contender, so
you would have to work to make that to make it flop.
Exactly. There's only one person who would have worked to make that flop on purpose.
I don't think even he could mess up. You don't even have to give him a match. If it's a house show, you can have them just stand in the ring cutting a promo and it's going to blow the roof off just because they're in the ring together. At that time,
But Flair still
At
would have
that,
killed him on the promo.
oh
Flair
yeah,
would have killed him on the mic.
Flair would have probably held back because he can't he
They
don't
probably
want to.
Vince would have probably told him to hold back.
Yeah,
Ooh, and good luck with that.
Yeah. Speaking of,
but
did you guys ever watch Chris Van Vliet when they had Dan Soder and Will Sasso?
Oh my!
Telling the story about how Bret Hart was on this Canadian radio show and he called in. They called Rick as a prank call, and they were talking about how you got to promo Rick off the. If you don't seen the clip, watch
I'm
the
going
clip.
to
It is hilarious.
I'm going to find that.
Oh, I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I can imagine that I
No,
would be
what you got to watch the whole thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna find
I'm gonna imagine I'll be crying laughing because Will Sasso is incredible with his impersonation. I mean, Macho Man, Jesse Ventura. I mean, you could just close your eyes and you'll think that's the actual person. And I'm all for great impersonations as long as they're funny, but you got to be somewhat accurate. And he definitely checks
All
every
right,
box on that.
now Dan Soder's Savage is
Mhm.
so spot on. Like,
Oh,
and he does this bit where he reads Charles Manson quotes in Savage's voice.
Oh,
Clint, if y'all haven't seen it, y'all have got to watch it.
I gotta
It is
find that.
hilarious.
oh god, I'm laughing.
Like, and they did a trade off like Andy Rooney quotes. Soder was doing Savage and Sasso was doing Hogan, and they were reading these quotes back and forth. My God, it was so funny.
Oh my god. Oh,
Like if you haven't watched it, just look up Chris Van Vliet,
Yeah,
Dan Soder, and Will Sasso. You can watch the whole episode, and those guys are funny. But like I said, the bit where they were doing Dusty and Rick on the phone,
oh,
hilarious. And then when they were trading back and forth quotes with Savage and Hogan, and then doing Andy Rooney trying to cut promos in wrestling, yeah, it's just hilarious.
I'm about to cry laughing at the thought.
wow. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out.
Yeah. Oh, and I hate to put you guys on the spot, but speaking of that episode, what's your favorite Savage promo?
Ah, I would.
Why you guys are thinking I give you one. The one he talked when he first feuding with Hogan, and he says about the pusters. He's like, if you want to know where I'm coming from, Hogan, I hate your guts. And I don't have to worry about pusters to the left and pusters to the right. Don't need them then. Don't need them now.
That's my favorite. Even though of course, I was a big Hogan fan, but that's my favorite. And you felt the emotion of that.
That man was highly upset
Yeah,
when he cut that promo. That was probably my favorite Savage promo. That and Cream of the Crop.
yeah, cream of the crop too. Yeah,
Well, I'm still trying to figure out how he got them little creams just come up out of. He threw one away. He still had another one in his hand. Like, dude, how
maybe
many
he
you
had
had?
their pocket or something. I don't know.
I mean, he probably drinking a bunch of coffee before the match, for all we know.
We hope it was sugar he was putting in his coffee and not nothing else white. But
Well, it was the '80s.
Oh my gosh.
well, this is true. I mean, but anyway, so just kind of wrap everything back up. So, what do you guys feel is? How do you like the direction WWE is going towards SummerSlam at this point, based off how Raw went and Saturday Night's main event?
I'm gonna say, and I know we didn't really take a chance to discuss it because we went way left there for a minute.
Yeah.
About Riyadh and all that. But the Bloodline storyline, especially with Solo and Royce Keys and LA Knight and how they're trying to bring Seth into it, I kind of called that. But I also call that Solo at some point is going to join the Bloodline. So we're actually going to have 5-on-5. I still see a possibility for that. But right now,
I'm trying to figure out who would be the fifth on the other side with LA Knight and Royce and possibly Seth. You're still missing two people.
When I really did my predictions, this was months ago, so I don't even know if they would even go in that same direction. But I said Seth, Royce, LA Knight, and the Street Profits.
Okay, well, that will work. Yeah.
Against the Bloodline with the Usos, Roman, Solo, and Jacob. I don't know at this point if it would still be the Street Profits or if once they're done with the Judgment Day, they bring in maybe Joe Hendry, or I don't know who the other two will be, but it definitely will be Seth Royce and LA Knight, because I think that they're going to screw Seth over at WrestleMania. I mean, sorry, at SummerSlam. I think they're going to screw him over. Solo is going to try to come out and help, and it's not going to work. And I think that's when he's going to finally join this cause against the Bloodline.
Yeah, probably like, because we did see an interaction between Seth and Jacob Monday.
Yeah.
So, and he was, Roman
And
had basically
Seth
said, don't
Solo.
nobody puts a hand on Seth.
Yeah, that's interesting, but he said until SummerSlam.
Right.
So if they're putting hands on Seth to keep the belt on Roman, I think he's gonna let that slide. So yeah.
Yeah. I like the direction they're going with, and this is like one of 3 matches I'm going to be so hyped for. Penta and Shad Gable for the Intercontinental title.
Oh, you know
I
what? That's
can't,
gonna be
oh my goodness.
that'll probably be the match.
They're still in the show on that one. I call it now.
And you know what? There's a lot out of Penta that if you haven't watched him in Lucha Underground or in
my God.
AEW or any other promotions, you still haven't seen.
Oh
So,
my.
and I think he's gonna bust some of that out in that match with
Even
with
if you watch AEW Penta, you're like, I can't wait for that guy to show up.
yeah, I think we're gonna see him at SummerSlam. I think it's gonna steal the show. And you are going to have a very high respect for both of those men by the end of that match. Now, as far as who's gonna win, are they gonna put the title on Chad?
I'm
I
think they
don't
are.
know.
I'm going
I
to be
think
on
they
my
are.
knees. I'm on my knees praying that happens. And I'm proud. Now, the only question will I have is, how many pizzas will I have ordered for that very night? The over
Pizza
the, o-
Hut better stay in business that night.
the over under is 2.5.
Dang, two and
And,
a half. Okay. Big boy
and
pizzas, I take it, sir.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. And
I
of
can
course, the
take
over
that.
is obviously the big favorite.
One thing I did notice on Raw, there was no women matches whatsoever. No progression of the women's story outside of Io and Liv with the Dan Haslam segment, but there was no other women
I just
anywhere else on the
realized
show.
I just realized that.
I mean,
Yeah,
that's kind of weird based on you have Sol Ruka, who is supposed to be your hot women's wrestler right now, and her, with Raquel chasing after her. You have Lyra coming off a major victory off Bailey on Saturday Night's Main Event. Wouldn't you want to capitalize on that? At least have her
Maybe
cut a promo or something?
I bet that shows a lot about the direction they have going with the Raw women right now, where they couldn't even think of a throwaway match to put on TV, and they just said, okay,
yeah.
well, we're just not going to have a match this week.
That's why I say put Paige back on Raw when the bell is turned on.
Yeah, I think that would be best. I mean, it won't be immediate because she's going to want to feud with them for a while, but yeah, eventually she's going to come over on Raw.
And who knows? And this is something else I saw a video somewhere, but SummerSlam has been past 2-3 years. There have been significant returns to appear at SummerSlam. Like we had Bailey 3 years ago. Well, I think Bailey when we went to Nashville in 2022.
Yeah, Damage Control.
Yeah, Damage
Yes.
Control. Yeah. Then Drew, either the year after or 2 years ago, Drew came back.
So who are we thinking? We're thinking Orton. We're thinking Drew.
I'm thinking Drew for one. I think there's be a man and a woman. I think Drew would probably be one. Maybe Naomi is back, ready to come back. I don't know. I don't know the situation as far as the birth and anything.
Haven't heard anything as of yet.
I haven't heard anything.
So we know it's not going to be Bianca based on how she's I think she's getting ready to deliver, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she's got a ways to go. It'll be a while. It'll be at least a year before we see her.
So yeah, one
return I would like to see.
Becky comes back possibly, since we hadn't heard from her in a while. Maybe maybe she attacks Io, and now they have a world title type thing going on.
That will work too. Give us something to do. I was gonna say one return I'd like to see is more of a I guess what's the word I'm looking for? Emotional reasons, I guess, will be KO, because I would love to see KO back and see him healthy.
Yeah, I want to. I'm definitely hoping he'll come back at some point.
Yeah.
I'm not. I wouldn't hold my breath on SummerSlam, however.
Yeah, I see
We should
maybe
hope.
Survivor Series, possibly Royal Rumble range. I can see KO coming back because I know he couldn't even travel to Saudi to watch Sammy wrestle for
Yeah.
the title because he's still recovering after that fusion surgery. So that's why I say I would still give him about at least another good 4 months before he comes back.
I don't know. Part of me is hoping that they're kayfabing us and that he's further along his recovery than they're putting out, just so he can make a surprise return.
Well, they did that with Seth, so
Yeah, I'm hoping, but it's just hope. I want to see everyone healthy. I had hope that Big E was
definitely, yeah.
back up. So,
Absolutely.
I just want to know that people are healthy and that, 10, 15, 20 years from now when they retire, they can actually still walk.
Amen to that.
Yeah, because you wonder about Jeff Hardy. How is he still walking based on
Yeah.
you know,
Which I think I saw online that he recently announced he was 3 years sober.
which is
So
great. That's awesome.
yeah, it is.
Much shout
I
out to
hope.
that. Hopefully, he continues down that path of sobriety because
Yeah,
that he'll put his body through hell just like how Kurt did. How we got Perk Angle.
Yeah.
Because he was taking so much. Um, but shoot, fellas, we Raw. WWE can be, this show SummerSlam can be a turning point of sort because a lot of doubters have like the way TKO's acting, the way some of these storylines are going. They really are pushing the downfall of WWE. I heard someone even compare it to like when Time Warner bought WCW and how
Yeah.
WCW started to turn. A lot of people feel that's what
And
TKO is doing with WWE.
it's really starting to look that way. I think we said that earlier a few months ago, and I was like, well, no, it's not that bad, but yeah, I think we're getting there.
Like it wouldn't surprise me if there's a dissolution at some point of TKO to sell off WWE and WWE kind of operates solo again. And please no, I don't want Vince to take over again.
No.
But it's going to have to take someone who's willing to see the vision that Triple H has to kind of let him do what he does. And who's to say that half of the things been going on hasn't been Triple H? Maybe they just been so top story centric as far as with the bloodline and with Cody that really, when it comes to the rest of the storylines after it, they kind of been winging it and not really concentrating.
Which is odd because when Triple H was running NXT, he had that show top to bottom running great. So when he's taking over the main roster, you kind of assume the same thing. But I guess when you've got writers in the mix and you're looking at Raw and SmackDown, it's a lot more to handle, plus other projects he's working on that we may or may not know about.
The only
Yeah.
grace I would give him is the fact that they've had so many injuries on the main roster versus he didn't have any in NXT. That these storylines could be completely different if nobody gets in.
Absolutely vision. But yeah, you can understand. I
You
definitely give him
talk
that
about
grace because
curse.
again, injuries change the whole dynamic. We're probably having a whole different conversation at this point.
We had a whole different WrestleMania before injuries, and who
This
knows
is
what
true.
SummerSlam? Who knows what stories would be in right now? Who
Like,
knows what SummerSlam
I
would
don't
look
think
like?
we get Brock versus Oba at WrestleMania if the injuries don't occur. I think Brock is not, Oba's not even put in this position without these injuries. I think they would have been pushing Breaker to kind of be in that spot that kind of Oba is now as far as that sweet spot. Because remember, they were kind of teasing
So
Brock to be Braun to be that person as far as a big dog and to be in these main events. And then injuries started occurring. Then you can see he kind of wheeled back a little bit. And
yeah,
Oba
him being
being
injured
who
too.
he is and his personality and his way to get over, kind of be like, we ain't got to worry about Braun. We're going to focus on Oba.
So you think it would have been Braun versus Brock?
I don't think Brock would even been in the picture. That's what I'm saying. Like Brock
Oh,
wouldn't have
okay.
even
Yeah.
entertained it. But I think we would have been maybe Braun winning the title legitimately at Mania. Like have a realistic shot.
Or maybe the injuries didn't change it. Maybe that's one of the few plans that they've had for a while that didn't have to change, because it's been the perfect way to get this future megastar over. I think the whole Brock storyline has been perfect for over, because I don't know what else they were going to do. I don't even remember much. I don't think they were doing much of anything before this all started. I think he had the thing going on with Kit Wilson, and that was it.
Well, I
This
think
whole
this
thing,
this was
It
Heyman.
this
wasn't
whole thing
much.
with Brock has been the best thing to happen for over.
Absolutely.
But I think this was. I think on Unreal, they were talking about back in January when they were talking about how to map out for Oba. It was basically Heyman pushing this over, and that's why I think Brock became involved because of Heyman. So that's why I say if Oba wasn't in that position, I don't even think Brock is even in the picture at that point. You see what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
I think he's still
Yeah.
chilling at
I
home.
haven't seen Unreal yet, all of Unreal. I
Yeah,
just
I
started
haven't watched
like
it, but
first.
just the one clip I saw, it was like Heyman and Triple H were kind of like, Oba's so over, we have to do something with it.
Well, I mean, of course, it's Paul Heyman. Paul
Well,
Heyman
Paul
should be.
Heyman could, regardless of what you feel about Paul Heyman, as far as some of the things he did with ECW, the man's a wrestling savant. There's only one other person I know who's as smart as him in wrestling, and that's Cornette.
I mean, Cornette and Heyman are the yin and yang of wrestling.
Yeah, true.
You know, I don't think they'd ever work together, because if they did, I think the universe would implode. If Cornette and Heyman, got the finances together and said, hey, they agreed on booking and said, we're going to start on promotion. And, of course, Heyman won't have anything to do with the money. But if that really happened,
Oh my goodness.
You talking about the amount
I
of
don't
wrestling knowledge those two have. When the terminology of they've forgotten more than anyone else would know, that is
yeah.
a true expression when it comes to those two. Like I don't know if there's a match in 1920 that Cornette doesn't know.
And they are both historians. Cornette is a historian and a collector, so he's got like the museum is attic. All of Heyman's
Yeah.
pictures are up there, but
And
he's
look at
got that.
Heyman's mentor.
Yeah.
Oh
I mean, you
my
don't get any
God.
better than that.
He sat at the knee of some of the greatest wrestlers you could ever think of, the
I
greatest
mean,
minds you could think of.
the only people the only mentors he could have had better would have been Megatron, Cobra Commander, Shredder.
Darth
I
Vader.
mean, Darth Vader, yeah, and Darth
And
Vader,
Skeletor.
and Skeletor. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Skeletor. That's the only thing you could do that was more dastardly than the managers he had,
Right.
and he soaked all of that in. He just was an
He
asshole and a liar and bad with money.
that part. But like if you can have a rein or a leash on Heyman, you're gonna get the best out of like let's put it like this. You know a Heyman storyline when you see it because you're like, I want to see how this plays.
Yeah, when you can feel it, when you
Exactly.
can feel it. That's why I think he has, or at least with the first Bloodline, I think he had a lot. I think he had a
Oh my.
huge hand in it. But
I
some of
think
that
he
booking was,
I think not only booked, he might have even produced matches at that point.
I believe he did. I mean,
and you know what? If they're going in the direction with the new Bloodline that I think they're going, I think Heyman may still have a hand in booking that too. Because I mean, the Vision is kind of at a standstill with injury, so he probably can't do with them what they like to do, him or Triple H. So maybe he is having a hand in the Bloodline story.
And
I
speaking
think
of, I gotta give a little bit of a shout out to the Vision thing because they're making us care about Otis and Tozawa again.
yeah,
I did
which
like what they did Monday night.
yeah,
Like you
and
now
I
you
don't
want to
have
see that
them
match
guys.
at SummerSlam.
Yeah,
They're not gonna win
which
the
good.
tag titles, but you want to see that match.
Yeah.
not much.
Now, wouldn't it be funny though? Hold on, wouldn't it be funny?
Oh man. Well,
Would it
Otis did win Money in the Bank.
not just that?
Yeah.
What if they're challenging for the tag titles, and who of all people helps them win? But Chad.
Oh,
Circle of Life.
oh,
And then you got Chad Gable in the feud to give him something to do
That's what I'm
also.
saying. Full circle. Now you can have him versus a Logan Paul or a Braun Breaker, and now you can kind of, because I have a feeling Logan's probably going to be healthy at SummerSlam.
I would pay to see.
I think his arm is going to be better, but then I think Chad Gable, he's either going to make the save or cost Vision the match. One of the two. I want to see him cost them the match. I mean, cost the Vision the match and lose the tag titles, but I think he'll probably come out and make the save to kind of keep the tag titles on the Vision.
Going back to what you said about Logan, I wouldn't be too surprised if he were already healthy and he's just wearing that thing.
That's
just
what I'm saying. Kind of like what they did with Seth.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And at SummerSlam, it comes off and he just bashes someone in the back of the head with it.
That's why I say, he brass knuck, knocked him out. They lose the match and they try to do a beatdown, and Chad Gable comes out to save them, and then they kind of reunite of sorts, which kind of full. Go ahead.
And in a perfect world, Chad Gable breaks Logan Paul's ankle.
That would be a fun angle too.
Hey, he's in his hometown, so give him that.
But you know what? That he is being in the hometown, so yeah, that would be a nice story arc all the way around with them.
Because as good as I have to say he is in the ring, I actually have more appreciation from that now that he's just talking. I still don't like him, but he's just talking and it's still kind of funny. So having him come out in a wheelchair every week just on the mic will be kind of funny.
You know what? And to see, like, well, I hate to say it, though, then you'd be regulating Braun Breaker to pushing him around in a wheelchair. Because it's not going to be Austin Theory.
Maxine can do it.
Oh, Lord, no.
No, Maxine's all over Austin.
Oh, that's right.
That's her new boo,
So what if she's like hanging off his neck and he's trying to hold her one hand, push the wheelchair with the other hand?
He ain't that strong.
No, he's not, but it'd be fun to watch.
But hey, but again, I mean, like I said, SummerSlam can really be a turning point for WWE as far as a lot of us. I mean, you call us marks, whatever. As far as how we view them going forward, outside of the 2-3 main matches that we're looking forward to, which is basically undisputed title, the world title, and over Brock. Those are pretty much the 3 matches we really care about.
Yeah.
Outside of that, we're struggling to find reasons to care for some of the other
Nick Aldis and Gunther match.
That's what I said. Like that one. Yeah. Think about what they had to do to even get us to that point to where we care to see it. It took a minute. But yeah, I mean, we kind of want to see it, but unfortunately, we kind of also see with Gunther's tag as retiring legend, and they finally putting promos on Nick Aldis being NWA World Champ. Another legend, now this is going to add to Gunther's thing, unless you do a shock thing, almost like Taker's Street, where Aldis actually gets over on Gunther. Gunther could survive that, I believe. I don't think it would hurt.
I think they're probably going to go with the Pat McAfee route, where Gunther won, but you still, walk away respecting Pat for the fight. Yeah, Pat still put up a good fight, enough to where he said, okay, well, he didn't punk down. If Aldis does the same thing, he doesn't win, but he puts up a good enough fight. Well, you know what? We can't fault him. He did, he gets a standing ovation at the end, even though he lost because he put up such a good match. I think they can do that.
Thank you. All this claps that we were talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I was saying before the show, I'm still kind of hoping for at some point down the line, Aldis versus Pierce. So we can't really have Aldis get retired by Gunther if they want to go that route. I think it's too obvious, and they probably won't, but it'd be nice to see it.
I think it's going to be up to Scrap Daddy if he wants to step back in the ring or not.
Yeah.
But I think if they could do something at Survivor Series, I was telling you guys before the show, if they could do a Survivor Series Raw versus SmackDown, and you have those two guys be the 5th man in the ring with that.
Yeah.
That would take you back to the NWA days when those guys were fighting over the NWA time.
Yeah.
Because did Pierce do TNA? I know he was NWA, but I don't. I know he did Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, but I really don't know if he did anything outside.
And I think he spent some time in Ring of Honor.
I was about to say.
Yeah, but not
Because I
I
don't
see.
think those two were together in any other promotion outside of NWA. Were
I don't think so.
I don't even know if they were there at the same time.
oh, okay. I thought maybe
I,
Aldis may have won the title off Pierce once or twice.
you know, I'll have to double check that. I could have sworn it was someone else. I know he won it off of
Coach.
Yeah,
well yeah, the Tim Storm. Aldis won
that
off
maybe
Tim
maybe
Storm.
that's why I'm getting confused with Aldis because they do have a somewhat similar. I
Now maybe Tim Storm got it off.
think Tim
I
Storm
would
got
have to
off
go back.
Pierce. No, he got off
I,
Aldis. I'll take that back.
I will have to go back and check, but
Yeah,
I'm not quite sure if they were in like at the same time, but they're still in that same lineage of being NWA champions. It was around the same time frame.
yeah. That's why I say that would be cool if they can actually have that match.
Yeah,
And wouldn't it be funny if they did wrestle before and this match is the tiebreaker?
that would be funny.
I
That'd
wouldn't
be
be opposed to it.
bring up too. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check on that. I
I'm
don't
definitely
remember.
not going to be opposed to that. I mean,
Yeah, Clint, you supposed to be the wrestling historian of the.
I mean,
Well,
Well,
if
I mean,
I
you're not
was
the oldest of the group, but you should. I thought you were the
if a
historian of the
historian,
group.
be I could check Wikipedia really quick.
oh my
Okay, here we go. List of NWA World Champions.
Yeah, this is a live search, folks. A historian at work, if you will. If you will. Because Clint's having a hard time.
Okay, so Nick won it back from Cody, and he won it originally from Tim Storm. Before that was Jax Dane, Hiroyoshi Tenzan, Rob Conway. I forgot about that.
Oh, wow.
Um,
How about
Adam
right?
Pearce had it back in 2012. July of 2012, he won it, and it was vacated in October of 2012. He left the
Okay.
NWA resigned as champion after they refused to let him defend the title in the concluding match of his 7-match series against Colt Cabana. The match took place with Cabana winning. Both wrestlers refused the title in the aftermath, so it got vacated. That
Okay,
was an
so they never
so
wrestle each other.
yeah, yeah. Pierce
interesting.
won. Not Pierce. I'm sorry. Aldis won in 2017.
Oh, whole 5 years.
Yeah.
Where was
So like I said,
Aldis at that time? Aldis was in TNA at that time.
Oliver in the TNA. I was actually going to check out. Yeah, he was Magnus from 2008 to 2015.
Okay, yeah, I thought. Okay,
So he went to the NWA after TNA. So yeah,
Oh, he was in
gotcha.
Dixieland.
yeah. So you'll be
Technically,
comparing them as the same way you will compare Nick Aldis against like Trevor Murdoch or somebody. They were both champions, but not in the same.
didn't it feel
Uh,
weird to say
not in the
Trevor
same
Murdoch
company.
was an NWA world champion?
Didn't he
Come on,
retire
man.
recently?
Trevor Murdoch. The same dude
I
with
mean,
him and I can't even remember his tag team partner name when they was in WWE.
it wasn't too unbelievable. It was just based on booking.
It was Garrison Cade.
He's a
May he
tough
rest in
guy.
peace. I mean, I think
Oh yeah, okay.
didn't
Yeah.
Trevor's retiring or has retired.
No, it's
Now he
funny to say
retired
that Rob
last year, I believe.
Conway.
Oh,
It's funny to say that Rob Conway was a former champion,
Yeah.
or
What's his name?
Tyrus.
Brodus
oh my,
Tyrus, yeah.
Tyrus. He was a Tyrus in NWA.
What a piece of garbage he turned out to be.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
we're not going to talk about. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Rob,
he's a
Um,
multiple time NWA champ.
yeah, Pierce won the title. Let's see, he won it first in 2007, lost in 08, won it again a month later, lost it the next month, and then in 2010 he won it again, and then again in 2011, and then 2012. So he was a multi-time world champion.
That's when Scrap Daddy. That's when Scrap Daddy had.
oh my.
Yeah, it just so happened to be during their least popular time.
Yeah, I think at that. Well, there was no AEW, so everybody
Yeah, and
only looked at
it was,
WWE.
it was right after TNA. They had just TNA had just left them, so that's what they can't. That it was during that time frame.
Yeah, but now we're starting
But
to see a resurgence again in wrestling.
yeah, which is good.
Thanks to
Check that out.
AEW, thanks to TNA, thanks to New Japan and some of these other companies that are kind of, I think because a lot of people have gone free agents now and they're going to these different companies, I think the eyes are following where those people go. Like, I think a lot of people, their free agency started today, as far as everybody that was released from WWE. Like the Selena Vega, I think she put out a patent for Zelina, but it's spelled with an X instead of a.
Yeah, I think her and Malachi, they're going to stick together. I don't know if they're going back to AEW or what, but they're definitely going to stick together. Because I think I saw a picture of them posted together.
I
wouldn't. I can. Yeah, they wouldn't be apart. Not at this point in their life.
You know, just like Scarlett and Killer Cross, you know, they finally established it where they're an act together. You know, they weren't before; they were two separate acts.
Yeah.
Now that they're established as a single act, they're going to stick together.
And they're getting over very well in MLW. I think Cross is the world champ right now.
What if Malachi and Zelina went to MLW and we get a Malachi and Zelina versus Killer Cross and Scarlet feud?
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah, and that's gonna bring a lot of eyes to MLW.
A lot.
Yeah.
I mean, and plus everybody's anticipating when Zilla's going to leave anyway.
Which, you know, I know we keep saying he's coming soon. It's coming. I think we're closer than we think. I think it could be.
And what if he ends up being the fifth man and not Solo?
You know what? That would work out. If I'm wrong and Solo doesn't rejoin the bloodline, yeah, Zilla. So we're looking at before Survivor Series, obviously. I don't know if we're looking at SummerSlam or right after. So maybe in October. If I had to guess when he'd show up, I'd say around October.
But I thought he had pretty much, they made it seem like he was wrapping up his matches and his storylines like quick in MLW.
Well, they may not bring him out. I mean, even once he's under contract, they may not want to bring him out immediately. They may want to send him down to NXT, not be on NXT, but send him down to kind of retrain, you know, the WWE style.
Who's to say he ain't there already?
Well, they have a very different style, and you know, you're comparing the indies to WWE, where it's supposed to be more of a safe style, form working more, as opposed to on the indies, you work once every couple of weeks, maybe.
Well,
you know how they do their tapings.
Yeah.
They're not touring around the world doing 3 shows a week like WWE is.
I know this is gonna sound petty, but it's not coming from a petty place. You know how Jay was gone for a while?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like 2-3 weeks. Maybe Zilla's was already working down in Florida. Jay happened to be down there because he was visiting his boo. Kind of helped put him on the game.
I'm like, well, how is that petty? I'm like, yeah, there we go. I mean, business and pleasure.
Well, she got a lot of pleasure back there. But
hey, when this one transit, I'll do it.
No disrespect, Miss Parker.
He volunteered. I'll do it. No, we want to send Jimmy. No, I'll go. I got this. Jimmy, you stay here. Take care of
Naomi will whoop that ass. Yeah. Jimmy tried it.
Naomi would have been down there with him.
Naomi don't play around with that.
I feel like Naomi carried a knife with her. I'm just saying.
And that caution tape ain't for nothing.
Right.
That's not just a character.
Nah. But anyway, you guys tell us, what do you think about our thoughts so far as how Raw and Saturday Night's Main Event went, and possibly your own predictions of SummerSlam? Be sure to leave a comment below so we can go ahead and give you a shout out. You know, who knows? Maybe one day you go ahead and go to a handful of tights, get you some nice merch, especially like a FTKO, or get you a nice Oba shirt or a Danhausen shirt, or any other shirt. Was there
Punk Jay?
Punk ass. Now, see, that's the next shirt. That's the next shirt. That punk ass.
No, it's already there.
That's it.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the next shirt for me to get.
Oh yeah.
The punk ass Jay, because I gotta wear that shirt. The punk ass, man. Can't nobody say that punk ass Jay like Jacob.
Oh my! Ain't nobody talk you, Jimmy, and especially talking you, punk ass.
That definitely lose your punk ass.
They got to keep that going.
They got
They
to. I hate they didn't get a chance to do it this week, but I hope I hope on Raw that he busts out the punk ass Jay. Like Jay want to do something to Seth, and he's like, hold up, wait a minute, OTC not to touch Seth. So you not gonna do nothing, Jimmy, and you damn sure ain't gonna do nothing, punk ass Jay. Matter of fact, I'm going to a handful of tights tonight to order that shirt. And you guys should do the same. Go to Google, type in handful of tights, one word, and look for the punk ass J shirt. Because what's the best way to win, Kurt?
The best way to win is with a handful of tight.
Yeah, I already know it. So, guys, I think we're just gonna go ahead and wrap it up for this week. But like I said, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell and leave a comment. Let us know what you think. So, with the crew as always, Clint and Curtis, you know who I am. I'm Pierre, and we'll check y'all out next time. Ringside right now.
We known for using chopsticks. Problems getting dealt with, never pop shit. Hit you with the drop kick. Marty Jannetty. No, I hit you with the drop kick.